has built nations. Our unity has moved mountains. Yet, as greed erodes the dignity of work, we face a crossroads, not just as people, but as a class. Work is the heartbeat of humanity, shaping civilization and determining our planet's fate. We gather not merely in celebration, but in defiance, honoring the hands that till the soil, the minds that innovate, and the spirits that refuse to break. We are the architects of wealth, the guardians of justice, and the living proof that another world is possible. This May Day arrives at a critical moment. It is not just a tribute to toil and sacrifice, but a reckoning, a time to demand justice, reclaim our rights, and fight for Nigeria rooted in equity and democracy. It is a day to challenge those in power to lift the crushing weight of economic hardship and give our nation a chance to rise. These days, 10, reclaiming the civic space in the midst of economic hardship calls us to defend democracy, resist repression, and rebuild Nigeria on justice. The civic space where voices challenge injustice and demand accountability is under siege. Policies are imposed without workers' input. Protests are met with brutality, and dissent is criminalized. We are threatened because we dare to speak against hardship, insecurity, and indignity. Comrades, since silence is a surrender, if we do not reclaim the civic space, democracy will crumble, and our hope for social justice will vanish. We must unite with the youth, women, and civil society to save this nation. In this economic storm, the civic space is our lifeline, the arena to redirect governance. Neoliberalism and anti-worker policies loom large, but we cannot falter. As Karl Marx warned, the emancipation of the working class must be the act of the working class itself. Our task is clear: unite, organize, engage, and reject division. Embrace solidarity, reject fear, embrace courage, reject despair, embrace hope. We must push back against forces dragging Nigeria downwards. The ingredients we endure, job insecurity, stagnant wages, unsafe workplaces, will persist unless we reclaim the civic space. It is our platform to challenge the powers that seek to silence us. Today, we stand to celebrate labor and to reclaim our voice. We must rebuild justice for the rubble of self-interest. The state is meant to protect the people, but seems paralyzed by pegs of power. So we support it to salvage our nation. This May Day, we declare the civic space belongs to the people. It is where voices must be heard, demands met, and struggle won. Attempts to shrink it is not advisable. Workers have always driven progress from the 8-hour work day to living wages. Yet our rights, freedoms, and unions are under attack. Precarious work, starvation wages, and repression seek to break us, but we remain unbowed, unbroken. Without workers, there is no society. Without labor, there is no development. Workers are criminalized for demanding fair pay. Dissent is crushed. Law silence protests, but we must march on. This is a call. Engage, organize, mobilize. Labor must shape policy, reject elite enrichment at the masses' expense, fight stagnant wages amid soaring costs. Hold leaders accountable amidst economic hardship. We must rebuild democracy. Workers fought for independence against dictatorship, fought democracy, for we must rescue it from repression. Reclaiming civic space means demanding policies for the people, not a privilege. Governance must serve, not oppress. Politicians cannot decide without the people. Where are the benefits of fuel hike? Electricity tariff promises, naira devaluation gains, endless taxes and borrowing. These are the truths government hides. The state of the movement, a call for consciousness and courage. Comrades, we gather not as mere unions, but as a living conscience of the struggle, a struggle against the machinery of oppression that seeks to break our spirit. The Nigerian worker stands at the precipice of history, caught not only in the grip of national crisis, but in the crossroad of global war on labor. Capitalism, revenues, and unrelenting divorce livelihoods erodes dignity and deepens the abyss of inequality. The state, which should be the guardian of justice, has too often become the enforcer of policies forged in the halls of exploitation by the Bretton Woods institutions. Despite all this, we march in an unshakable spirit of solidarity. Yet in the face of this storm, the Nigerian labor movement remains the strongest, the most vibrant in Africa. We have resisted every scheme to divide us. Together we fought for the minimum wage. Together we stand in every battle against injustice and deprivation. We are growing, organizing the informal economy, strengthening ranks, fortifying our solidarity. With every new member, our power swells. We are no longer just workers. We are a collective will of the marginalized, the oppressed, the unseen. The fire of the struggle continues as a trade union movement was not born in comfort. It was forged in fire. Our power does not come from the generosity of the elite, but from the unity of the exploited. Remember the struggle for 70,000 minimum wage, a victory still defied by many governments. The struggle for this continues. Compliance must be assured. And beyond this, we must demand living wage. One that lifts workers from the grip of hardship. We must build a movement that does not beg for crumbs, but demands for bread. We have begged with our sweat. Remember, our brothers and sisters who, rather than endure servitude in faraway Georgia, chose to the ultimate defiance, the courage to say no. That same fire burns in all of us. Today we say no to hunger, no to poverty, no to hardship, no to impunity, no to police brutality, no to bad governance, no to starvation wage. We speak for those who serve in silence, who weep in shadows, who grind their lives into dust under the weight of poverty. We are a voice. To remain silent is to betray them. It is our duty to speak for them. We shall continue to do so. The true enemies of this nation are not those who speak, but those who stay silent when things go wrong. Those who watch as we are brutalized. Those who keep silent when we are paid starvation wages. Those who trade tomorrow's promise for today's cowardice. We have chosen that we will not be silent. We will not be broken. We will speak. Comrades, this year's May Day goes amidst grave national challenges that threaten not just our democracy, but the very fabric of our existence. Worsening ethnic tensions, rampant insecurity, impunity everywhere, and disregard for constitutional principles cast a dark shadow over our nation. Thus, this is not the Nigeria our forebears fought for. Were they to witness today's reality, they will surely be dismayed. Where governments uphold the dignity of citizens, democracy thrives. Where they fail, democracy withers. Today's deep insecurity amidst litany of bloodshed, Uromi, Yamufu, Edani, Awo, Zamfara, Akos, Benue, Kebbi, testifies a failure of leadership. The federal government must fulfill its primary constitutional duty to protect the lives and property, not lament helplessly. Comrades, true leadership demands service, humility, and inclusivity. The executive, legislature, and judiciary must restore their independence. Today, public confidence, government outcomes has evaporated. The president must summon courage to admit wrongs and correct them. That is the hallmark of great leaders. Nigeria belongs to all of us. Only through collective commitment to justice, fairness, and the true rule of law can we rescue it. We must not allow further descent into crisis. The time to return to the path of justice and democratic governance is now. Our nation's economy. Distinguished guests and comrades, the Nigerian economy today stands battered and bruised, weighed down by structural deformities and microeconomic collapse. Rising inflation, massive unemployment, exchange rate chaos, and shrinking GDP have turned daily life into a brutal struggle for survival for workers and citizens alike. The real test of the economy is simple. Are the people better off? Can they meet their basic needs today and tomorrow? By this test, this economy is not doing well. Streets across the country bear faces of hunger, hopelessness, and crushed dreams. The Human Development Index places Nigeria 161st out of the 193 countries, classified among nations with lowest human development. As of 2025, 115 million Nigerians live in absolute poverty, 175 million in multi-dimensional poverty. Unemployment pre-rebasing was 35%. The reworked figure sits around 5.3%. But no amount of statistical acrobatic can hide the desolation on the ground. Inflation now ravages 33.69%, the highest in 28 years, while food inflation is monstrous 40.53%, driven by fuel hikes, insecurity, and forest scarcity. Real wages have collapsed. A 70,000 naira wage today is worth less than 15,000 in 2019 terms. A worker's full month salary cannot even buy a bag of rice. Unemployment is near 70%. Youth unemployment hovers at 40%. Jobs are disappearing across manufacturing, agricultural, and SMEs. Industries are suffocating. Manufacturers cannot import raw materials. Unsold goods buy. Factories shut down. No less than 60 multinational companies, including giants like GlaxoSmithKline and P&G, have fled since 2023, citing hostile business conditions. Without a strong manufacturing base, talk of job creation is a mere rhetoric. The power poverty is another albatross. Industries spend 40 to 60% of production costs. Insecurity on farms fuels food crisis. We now rank 109 out of the 125 on the Global Hunger Index, and it is getting worse. Fiscal recklessness among public office holders is deepening the rot. With MRR interest rate of 27%, expecting industrial growth is pure fantasy. We must act. Only a radical break with neoliberalism can save this country. Blind allegiance to IMF and World Bank prescriptions will only deepen our misery. Argentina's disaster should serve as a warning. Even the so-called apostles of free trade, like the United States under Trump, resort to protectionism when it suited them. We must learn. Nations that survive and thrive on those who build strong, self-reliant economies that have strong social components, and not those that seek to emasculate the citizen. We suggest once again that government should deliberately put more money into the hands of workers who drive the economy, who drive the local economy, support local industries, and recover and expand, end the statistical gerrymandering, rebasing inflation, unemployment, and GDP figures does not feed the people, and build a real economy that can survive the dignity of jobs and hope. When the economy is doing well, Workers and citizens do not need any government spokesperson to tell us. We can feel it in our pockets, our tables, and on our lives. Let me allow my colleague to continue.
The energy here, those who claim to know better stubbornly refuse to listen. Instead, they cling to failed models and broken promises. We, the workers in petroleum and power, know the truth. We know where the skeletons are buried. We know what works. If the government is serious about fixing this sector, it must sit down with critical stakeholders and rebuild it properly. Until then, Nigeria will remain shackled by energy poverty, despite being blessed with the resources to power a strong economy. What we lack is just look at the absurdity. We have crude oil, yet Dangote claims to import crude to run his refineries. He exports refined products, while Nigerians import the same product. It makes no sense. A nation that fails to manage its energy resources is doomed. Nigeria's energy sector today stands at a monument to negligence and corporate exploitation, keeps millions in darkness and choking industrial growth. How can a country of over 200 million people celebrate generating 5,528 megawatts when Ghana, with a population smaller than Lagos, generates 5,260 megawatts? Worse still, less than 4,000 megawatts even reaches our homes and industries. When the president laments the high cost of electricity in the villa and sinks 10 billion naira into solar, when Lagos State Deputy Governor wrings his hands over electricity bills, one must ask, if the allies are complaining, how do they think workers and average citizens are surviving under these crushing tariffs? Energy, electricity, oil or gas is the lifeblood of any modern economy. But here, sleazes, failed privatizations, and broken policies have turned it into a playground for profiteers. The government must urgently partner with workers, trade unions, and the Nigerian people to reclaim this sector and secure energy sovereignty. Our refineries remain a technical coma. Billions spent on Port Harcourt and Warri refineries have produced merely nothing. Meanwhile, a twisted game played out in the downstream sector. Dangote exports refined products, while Nigerians are forced to import the same. This is a deliberate economic gang-up. Effort must be made to get the publicly owned refineries working, while fixing all these areas of disagreement with local private refiners and NNPC Limited. We maintain that the power sector privatization was a daylight robbery and a monumental failure. A decade later, Nigerians still pay outrageous tariffs for darkness. Estimated billings remain legalized robbery. If we are serious about national development, we must fix the power sector now. No excuses. Regulatory capture. Comrades, as we celebrate today, let us confront a harsh truth. Government has abandoned its duty to regulate critical sectors. Instead of protecting citizens, they have surrendered to the fat cat. Telecommunications, power, banking, all now playgrounds for corporate impunity. The NCC watches helplessly as telcos hike tariffs without due process. NEC does nothing as electricity rates skyrocket. Regulators have been captured. They now serve the corporation, not the people. When regulators and operators become one and the same, services collapse, progress dies, and democracy weakens. We demand that regulators return to their jobs. and government implement the agreement to cut their treacherous 50% telecom tariff hike down to 35% immediately. Nigerian workers are out of patience. Tax bills. Comrades, fellow workers, we stand united against the unjust tax bill trying to bleed us dry. Crafted behind closed doors, this bill slaps heavy taxes on Nigerian workers, meager housing, transportation, and medical allowances, while letting the rich and corporations off the hook. Today, Nigerians' minimum wage stands at 70,000 naira per month, 840,000 naira per year. Yet the government wants to tax anyone earning above 800,000 naira. Imagine taxing a man whose annual income barely buys 8 bags of rice. It is inhuman and wicked. Expanding VAT on essential goods will only worsen inflation, punishing the poor. Instead of squeezing workers, tax and obscene profit of big corporations and the idle wealth of the elite, we must demand the immediate withdrawal of this anti-worker tax bill. We want progressive taxation. We want VAT exemptions on essentials. We demand support for the informal economy, the true backbone of Nigeria's economy. Workers will not rest until we win tax justice for millions who keep Nigeria running. Electoral reform. Nigeria's political crisis is rooted in a broken electoral system that hardly reflects the people's will. It fuels apathy. It weakens democracy. It must not be allowed to continue. Electoral justice grows democracy. The trade union movement demands a national, inclusive, and urgent reforms of Nigeria's electoral and governance architecture. We call on Mr. President and the National Assembly to rise above party lines. We must convene workers, civil society, youth, and the marginalized to redesign a system that guarantees every Nigerian vote counts. We must ensure leadership reflects the will of a people, not the convenience of a few. International arena. Comrades, Nigerian workers remain alert to global development. The world is in turmoil, driven by the greed of the metropolitan power and the capitalist master. Their hunger and profit fuel endless wars, disrupt peace, and stall sustainable development. The UN system, crippled by bias, has failed to act justly, leaving the world more dangerous than ever. The tariff wars. The ongoing tariff wars, ignited by US protectionism, have wreaked havoc on global trade, driving up costs, sinking markets, and threatening jobs everywhere, including Nigeria. Our oil and agricultural exports suffer a trade tension rise. We must push for policies that protect workers and diversity and diversify our economy while demanding global dialogue over destructive trade conflict. On this May Day, we urge workers-centered AfCFTA that strengthens African solidarity and put the interests of workers first. Only by standing together can we build a global economy that delivers decent jobs, fair wages, and shared prosperity. Shura Arab Democratic Region. We stand firmly with the people of Western Sahara, the last colony in Africa, against Morocco's illegal occupation. Despite UN resolution, the Shawara people face exploitation, displacement, and resource plunder. As trade unionists, we cannot be silent. Their fight for freedom is our fight against imperialism and injustice. We demand an immediate end to Morocco occupation and a free, fair referendum for the Sahara people this May Day. We pledge Western Sahara be free. Cuba. We also reaffirm our solidarity with Cuba, still suffering under a cruel US blockade that starved its people of food, medicine, and basic necessity. The inhuman policy divides international condemnation and exposes the hypocrisy of those who claim to champion freedom. Despite everything, Cuba's achievement in healthcare, education, and solidarity shines bright. We demand end to the blockade now. Viva Cuba! Conclusion. Your Excellencies, Nigerian workers are living. We are hungry. We feel betrayed. Is it a crime to be a worker in Nigeria? Must we toil endlessly only to sink deeper into poverty? Our sweat fuels this nation's wealth. Yes, we are repaid with indignity and starvation wage. This injustice must end. No worker should be a beggar. No worker should live in penury for serving the nation. True democracy depends on protecting the civic space, the public square where the people's voice guides the nation. Its erosion is a threat not just to workers, but to Nigeria's very survival. We must defend it with all our strength. Comrades, in 1949, at Oyemat coal mine, 21 miners were slaughtered for demanding dignity and independence. In 1945, workers perished in the coal struggle, fighting hardship, just as we do today. By Imodu, the NEPA 11, Milton Dabibi, Ovie Kokori, they were persecuted for daring to resist oppression. Countless others have suffered freedom and safety to build a federal wall. Today, we salute their courage. Comrades, let us observe a moment of silence for all our fallen heroes. A moment of silence, please. Let's stand up, comrades, to observe a moment of silence for all our fallen heroes. 1, 2, go. May the souls of all the faithful departed, may the souls of all our heroes continue to rest in the bosom of the Lord, and may their memories continuously be blessings to us. Their struggle shattered colonialism, broke the chains of exploitation, and won the freedom we now defend. Their legacy is our mandate to break the new chains of hunger, deprivation, and repression. The battle is ours. We must run this race with pride, defiance, and unyielding resolve. A memorial arcade will soon rise to honor these heroes. Join us in immortalizing their sacrifice. They try to divide us, North versus South, Christian versus Muslim, but we see the truth. The real divide is between the oppressors and the oppressed, the billionaires and the workers. The path ahead is difficult, but history shows that progress is won through persistence. We will not be silenced, and we will not accept half measures. Let this May Day mark not just a celebration of labor, but the beginning of a renewed movement, one that reclaims Nigeria's future from the grip of exploitation. History teaches us one truth: no oppressor lasts forever. From colonialism to apartheid, from dictatorship to neoliberalism, every tyranny has fallen before the logic of organized labor and the people's cry. Let us reclaim the civic space, even in the midst of the economic hardship, so that we can address our fears and worries as workers and as masses. Let us therefore live here today with fire in our heart and resolve in our hands. Let us organize in every factory, every market, every village. Let us build a movement that shakes the foundation. Let us be the generation that takes back the nation and forges a Nigeria and a world where wealth is shared, where work is dignified, and where justice is not just a dream, but a reality. Finally, our invited guests, comrades, gentlemen of the press, we wish to make the following demands. Number one, stop the compression of civic space. Number two, implement minimum wage that reflect current realities. Number three, withdraw exploitative tax bill. Number four, reduce telco tariffs as agreed from 50 to 35%. Number five, reverse electricity privatization. Number six, end impunity, killings, and insecurity. Number seven, pay all outstanding allowances and pension. Number eight, expand retirement benefits and adjust pension to inflation. Number nine, protect union rights and halt indiscriminate union registration. Number 10, reform the economy for real development, not donor-driven austerity. Number 11, automatic adjustment of pension to reflect inflationary trends. Number 12, once again, we call for a review of the electricity privatization. Workers of the world, have a wonderful May Day. It is our May Day. 2026 celebration beckons. Let us meet again. Long live the Nigeria Labour Congress.
Long live.
Long live the Trade Union Congress.
Long live.
Long live the working people.
Long live.
Long live Nigeria.
Long live.
Solidarity.
Forever.
Solidarity.
Forever.
Great Nigerian workers. Great Nigerian workers.